Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card. I've watched through his eyes. I've listened through his ears, and I tell you he's the one. Or at least as close as we're going to get. That's what you said about the brother. The brother tested out impossible, for other reasons, nothing to do with his ability. Same with the sister. And there are doubts about him. He's too malleable, too willing to submerge himself in someone else's will. Not if the other person is his enemy. So what do? Surround him with enemies all the time? If we have to. I thought you said you liked this kid. If the buggers get him, they'll make me look like his favorite uncle. All right, we're saving the world after all. Take him. The monitor lady smiled very nicely and tousled his hair and said, "Andrew, I suppose by now you're just absolutely sick of having that horrid monitor. Well, I have good news for you. That monitor is going to come out today. We're going to just take it right out, and it won't hurt a bit." "This won't take long, Andrew," said the doctor. Ender nodded. "It's designed to be removed, without infection, without damage. But there'll be some tickling, and some people say they have a feeling of something missing. You'll keep looking around for something you were looking for, but you can't find it, and you can't remember what it was. So I'll tell you. It's the monitor you're looking for, and it isn't there. In a few days, that feeling will pass." The doctor was twisting something at the back of Ender's head. Suddenly, a pain stabbed through him like a needle from his neck to his groin. Ender felt his back spasm, and his body arched violently backward. His head struck the bed. He could feel his legs thrashing, and his hands were clenching each other, wringing each other so tightly that they ached. "Dee Dee," shouted the doctor, "I need you." The nurse ran in, gasped. "Got to relax these muscles. Get it to me now. What are you waiting for?" Something changed hands Ender could not see. He lurched to one side and fell off the examining table. "Catch him!" cried the nurse. "Just hold him steady." "You hold him, doctor. He's too strong for me." "Not the whole thing. You'll stop his heart." Ender felt a needle enter his back just above the neck of his shirt. It burned, but wherever in him the fire spread, his muscles gradually unclenched. Now he could cry for the fear and pain of it. "Are you all right, Andrew?" the nurse asked. Andrew could not remember how to speak. They lifted him onto the table. They checked his pulse, did other things. He did not understand it all. The doctor was trembling. His voice shook as he spoke. "They leave these things in the kids for 3 years. What do they expect? We could have switched him off. Do you realize that? We could have unplugged his brain for all time." He got back to Miss Pumphrey's class only 15 minutes before the closing bell. He was still a little unsteady on his feet. "Are you all right, Andrew?" asked Miss Pumphrey. He nodded. "Were you ill?" He shook his head. "You don't look well." "I'm okay." "You'd better sit down, Andrew." He started toward his seat, but stopped. Now, what was I looking for? I can't think what I was looking for. "Your seat is over there," said Miss Pumphrey. He sat down, but it was something else he needed, something he had lost. "I'll find it later." "Your monitor," whispered the girl behind him. Andrew shrugged. "His monitor," she whispered to the others. Andrew reached up and felt his neck. There was a Band-Aid. It was gone. He was just like everybody else now. "Washed out, Andy?" asked a boy who sat across the aisle and behind him. Couldn't think of his name. Peter. No, that was someone else. "Quiet, Mr. Stilson," said Miss Pumphrey. Stilson smirked. In the corner of his desk, a word appeared and began marching around the perimeter of the desk. It was upside down and backward at first, but Ender knew what it said long before it reached the bottom of the desk and turned right side up. Third. Ender smiled. He was the one who had figured out how to send messages and make them march, even as his secret enemy called him names. The method of delivery praised him. It was not his fault he was a third. It was the government's idea. They were the ones who authorized it. How else could a third, like Ender, have got into school? "Hey, Third." Don't answer. Nothing to say. "Hey, Third, we're talking to you, Third. Hey, bugger lover, we're talking to you." Can't think of anything to answer. Anything I say will make it worse, so we'll say nothing. Hey, Third! Hey, Turd! You flunked out, huh? Thought you were better than us, but you lost your little birdie, Thirdy. Got a Band-Aid on your neck. Are you going to let me through? Ender asked. Are we going to let him through? Should we let him through? They all laughed. Sure, we'll let you through. First, we'll let your arm through, then your butt through, then maybe a piece of your knee. The others chimed in now. Lost your birdie, Thirdy. Lost your birdie, Thirdy. Stillson began pushing him with one hand. Someone behind him then pushed him toward Stillson. Seesaw, Marjorie Daw, somebody said. Tennis. Ping-pong. This would not have a happy ending, so Ender decided that he'd rather not be the unhappiest at the end. The next time Stillson's arm came out to push him, Ender grabbed at it. He missed. Oh, gonna fight me, huh? Gonna fight me, Thirdy? The people behind Ender grabbed at him to hold him. Ender did not feel like laughing, but he laughed. You mean it takes this many of you to fight one third? We're people, not thirds, Turdface. You're about as strong as a fart. But they let go of him, and as soon as they did, Ender kicked out high and hard, catching Stillson square in the breastbone. He dropped. It took Ender by surprise. He hadn't thought to put Stillson on the ground with one kick. It didn't occur to him that Stillson didn't take a fight like this seriously, that he wasn't prepared for a truly desperate blow. For a moment, the others backed away, and Stillson lay motionless. They were all wondering if he was dead. Ender, however, was trying to figure out a way to forestall vengeance, to keep them from taking him in a pack tomorrow. I have to win this now and for all time, or I'll fight it every day and it will get worse and worse. Ender knew the unspoken rules of manly warfare, even though he was only 6. It was forbidden to strike the opponent who lay helpless on the ground. Only an animal would do that. So Ender walked to Stillson's supine body and kicked him again, viciously, in the ribs. Stillson groaned and rolled away from him. Ender walked around him and kicked him again, in the crotch. Stillson could not make a sound. He only doubled up, and tears streamed out of his eyes. Then Ender looked at the others coldly. You might be having some idea of ganging up on me. You could probably beat me up pretty bad. But just remember what I do to people who try to hurt me. From then on, you'd be wondering when I'd get you, and how bad it would be. He kicked Stillson in the face. Blood from his nose spattered the ground nearby. It wouldn't be this bad, Ender said. It would be worse. He turned and walked away. Nobody followed him. He turned a corner into the corridor leading to the bus stop. He could hear the boys behind him saying, Geez, look at him. He's wasted. Ender leaned his head against the wall of the corridor and cried until the bus came. I am just like Peter.